Amazing.
Hey, hi Linda. How are you?
Hi, good, great tonight. How are you?
I am well, thank you. So, Linda Green, great dog trainer, behaviorist. One of my favorite topic is dog etiquette. I have been at the bad end of dog etiquette. I ended up rescuing a dog that I thought was a husky cross, but turned out to be a purebred Akita. He was 125 pounds, and like a lot of Akitas, they're a little bit dog aggressive. They're not always happy, superb with people, absolutely superb with people, but did not like other dogs. And I always had him on leash, but other people would have their dogs off leash and let their dogs come and greet my dog, this Akita, Nakota. So it resulted in a lot of unpleasant situation. I ended up walking my dog at midnight when I knew nobody else would be on the streets. I would be doing it at 6 o'clock when people are inside having dinner. So I could be walking alone with my dog on a leash. He was always on a leash, but I mean, he never pierced skin, but there was always an encounter. It was just a matter of time. Was it in seconds or in minutes that the situation was going to twist around? So there is a dog etiquette out there. So, and certainly from a behavior point of view. So can you run with this topic? Because yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. Anyone who's ever had a reactive dog or a dog that has issues with other dogs, feels this pain. Um, so really, if you have an off-leash dog in an area where it is not okay to have off-leash dogs, where there's rules, um, don't do that. It is not okay for your off-leash dog to approach a dog that's on leash. And there are very few areas where people who have reactive dogs and need to have dogs on leash can go. There are lots of dog parks and open areas where people can let their dogs off and presumably bring friendly dogs that want to play with one another too. But if you're in an area that is a leashed area, it's really important to respect that and realize that this isn't about your dog. You can have the friendliest dog in the world. It's about the other dog. And the other dog that the person has on leash could be on leash for 100 different reasons. The dog could be on leash because he's post-surgical and he has to be really careful. The dog could be on leash because he's been traumatized or attacked by another dog. The dog could be on leash because he's got real high predation and he's gonna, take off after Fluffy the poodle or a white rabbit and maybe kill it. The dog could be on leash because he's just not dog friendly. He just doesn't like other dogs, or the owner might be afraid of other dogs. So, I mean, there's 100 different reasons, and that's just a few of them, why someone might have their dog on leash. And really, there's absolutely nothing worse than having your dog on leash and seeing this big bounding dog coming flying at you with an owner 100 feet behind going, my dog is friendly. It's terrifying, and it can cause huge setbacks in training, and it's just not fair. So you really need to respect the leash of the other people that are walking. And if someone has their dog on leash, call your dog back, put your dog on leash, cross over to the other side of the road, give that dog some space. People who are struggling with reactivity in their dogs and are training it, the dog needs a certain threshold distance. And if your dog
Yeah.
doesn't, if that dog enters that threshold distance, then the other dog has no choice but to go off and a big display, and there's huge training setbacks, and it's just hard. It's not respectful to your other dog walkers. So please respect the leash and just keep your dog on leash or call them away from dogs that are on leash.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, for us in medical terms, we have in our entry BDLD, which is big dog, little dog. So it's an encounter that has gone bad. And more of these encounters where a dog is on a leash, but the other one is not. And the dog on a leash doesn't want to be greeted, sniffed,
No.
or met by another dog. The other important topic on this as well is when we're working with our dogs and people say, oh, can I come and pet your dog?
Mm-hmm.
Again, the only dogs that I've had in my household have been res dogs because dogs with no names, we call them dogs with no names. And some of these dogs have issues, and the answer often has to be no. But can you expand on this as well?
Yeah, so you know your dog, and you know if your dog likes strangers coming up to pet and doesn't. And so be your dog's advocate. A stranger wanting to pet your dog when your dog doesn't like it is putting your dog in a situation that the dog's not comfortable, and it's not really very fair. It's kind of like you walking down the street with your husband and some guy coming up and going, "Wow, your wife is really pretty. Can I touch her? Can I kiss her?" And your husband is kind of like, it's the same sort of thing. Touching a dog, being touched by a stranger is quite intimate for a dog. So ask your dog. If you're not sure, people can ask you and say, "Hey, can I pet your dog?" And yeah, but ask the dog. So the person should get down and open their arms a little bit and see if the dog wants to come in and close the distance and approach. If the dog doesn't, that's a real clear no.
Yeah.
And we expect that people respect our children and our no's. So if your dog gives a no, I think it's fair to say, "My dog really doesn't want to be pet right now, but thank you, have a nice day," and off you go, right? Um, I also kind of am leery of having children come up and pet dogs and encouraging that, because your dog might be the nicest dog in the world. And so they come up and say, "Hey, can I pet your dog?" And you say, "Oh, yeah." And they pet the dog. But they get into the habit of doing that. And most kids like dogs, so they ask everybody to pet their dogs. And some dogs really don't like that. So it's not a good precedent to set for children to just think that they can always go and pet someone's dog. I don't
Right.
encourage it.
Yeah, and not make it a habit, and that everybody should be saying yes, because yeah, and to me, the dogs that are with me, Rupert and Charlotte, if they will go toward people and they will roll over and they're so happy to be petted, but if they come and sit beside, if we're talking and they come and sit beside me or behind me,
Yeah.
they just need their space and time. They've got antecedents in there, and we have to be respectful of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so those are two good.
If it's
Greeting of
somebody
the
that
dog.
you really care about, if it's somebody you really care about, or they really want to have an interaction, you can say, "Here, take a treat, toss a treat for my dog, or ask my dog to do a little trick." And if your dog likes to do tricks, that can take the place of being pet when the dog doesn't want to be pet. And it can be a positive interaction for the dog because the dog's going, "Well, that person's not so bad. I got a treat out of it." So,
Oh, nice. Yeah. And especially if it's people that we're going to be encountering on our walks very often. So, dog etiquette, to summarize. So, if somebody has a dog on a leash and your dog is not on a leash, you have to recall your dog. A dog off leash should not be meeting a dog on a leash, especially in leashed areas. There's a reason that people, and I used to walk only in leashed areas, obviously, with my Akita, because I could never let him off leash around other dogs. And the dog etiquette when encountering someone else's dog is to ask the pet owner, "Can I pet your dog?" But also then therefore asking the dog by getting down, like you say, having an open stance and say, and see if the dog wants to come toward us to be petted. And if the dog does not, then just maybe next time.
respect it. Yeah. It's not about you.
Good pointers as always. Well, thank you so much, Linda. And certainly people can find you at bandedpeakmentoring.com. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Bye.
night. Bye.